Alright, Shalom. Kahalayim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Makak Wadash, which is the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Quadash, the Holy Tongue for the one true name of the Heavenly Father being Yahweh, and that of the Messiah whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus being Yahweh Shai. Those are the only names in which salvation may be obtained, whether you have been given the Spirit to receive that knowledge or not. As it is written in Acts 4 and 12. I'd like to give double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Grand Millstone who have taught me this truth through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, who drew well today. And a sincere peace, love, blessing, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there doing the best to make the calling of your election sure. Lord willing is edifying. All right, and you see the name of the lesson, man. All right, thoughts are incipient to actions, man. All right, and I got a Matthew the 15th chapter here to prove that. And here you see I have the definition of the word incipient, which one of the brothers had mentioned this at camp. I mean, he just used this word and it caught my ear, man. And so I, wrote it down so I could circle back around to it. And, I thought it was very suiting for a lesson. But here it is, the definition. It's an adjective in the initial stage, beginning or happen to develop or develop. All right. So an adjective is describing the verb, and the description that it's giving you. All right, is the very beginning or initial stage of something, man. All right, that something being the verb, which we're going to go ahead and get into that direct context, which again will be Matthew 15, and this verb here is going to be the action of sinning, right? So there's something that is incipient to that sin, which would be your thoughts, man. And in fact, before we read Matthew 15, let's go ahead and jump to the book of James to further expound upon this point. James chapter 1. And in fact, we'll go ahead and start at verse 1. It says, James, a servant of God and the Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So this letter, all right, is written to you 12 tribes that are scattered abroad for you to read and reflect on, all right, wherever you have been scattered, all right? As we've been scattered, and it's been prophesied that we would be gathered, man. All right, and this is that gathering coming in the form of you being called, man. All right, so let me go ahead and jump down. A little bit. Verse 2, it says, My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Right? So similar to Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Right? If you come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul for temptation, man. This is part of our walk. This is how the book of Zechariah tells us how we're going to be tried and refined, right? And basically put in a furnace, and all this dross is going to be burnt off us, so we bring forth the outcome of pure gold, man. In order for us to become pure gold, we have to be tried. We have to go through it to get to it, in other words, man. And this is going to come by what? The trying of your faith, as we read here, right? Verse 2, count it joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So patience is a key component to your faith being tried. All right, you being patient to get through it, man. Verse 4, it says, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing, right? So for you to be made whole, for you to be made perfect, you're going to have to be patient while you get put through particular things, man. And part of that's going to be this walk of faith, and part of that's going to be you being enticed by certain things that your flesh is going to want to grasp unto, man. But we know what is beneficial to our spirit and what is not, man. And though this thing does come with a balance, right? Hey, we got to know that there's certain things that we must refrain from, man, which is easier said than done, you see. And let's go ahead and jump down to verse 12. It says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him, right? Love comes with obedience. So you got to be obedient, you got to be patient, you got to get through these certain trials that take place, man. And sometimes you may slip up a little bit, But nonetheless, right, that's why you keep your thought process on point, which is, basically the topic of this lesson. Verse 13, it says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. So it might be easy to say this because, right, we know that man's goings are of the Lord. We know that the Most High is the shot caller, man. All vessels are underneath him and at his will, and he doeth according to his will, man. Right? As it is written, I create peace, I create evil, I the Lord do all these things. So naturally it might be easy for you to try to say that the Lord tempts people, but he really doesn't, man. There's vessels created to do that, and that's their role. Verse 14, it says, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. So really this begins with your own thoughts, man. Your own lusts, the things that your flesh is gravitating towards, man, which, we got to deny ourselves. Because at times, we might catch ourselves doing too much. We might catch ourselves wanting for too much. And just like it was told to Lot's woman, right? What did she do, man? All she did was simply look back, and the Most High got her, man. Why? Because she was leaving something behind. And just like the scriptures tell us, right? Any man that taketh his hand to the plow and looketh back is not fit for the kingdom of heaven. So we got to keep our eyes on the prize and keep our mind on track, man, so that we don't get detoured by our thoughts, which will then lead us to what, man? Enticement, right? Let's go ahead and look up that word, enticed. We'll go to the blue letter. All right, so this is EliahConcordance.com, which is just the Strong's Concordance. See here, it's not no normal dictionary. It's the Strong's Concordance, which means what? They take all of these words and they give them numerical codes next to them, all right, so that they could put that code next to every single word that has the same definition. Because oftentimes you might have the same word, but they have different definitions. Well, in this case, the definitions are the same that you're going to be able to match them up with, which is why when you go below, right, it gives us all the different verses that have these the same word in here, which in this case you'll see beguiling, alluring, or enticing. All those words having the same definition, man. Going on, it says, going to the definition. Strong's definitions, as you see there, gives you the way to say the word, and it says entrap, figuratively, delude, allure, beguile, entice. So for you to be led to, for you to be trapped towards, right? Your eyes are going to see it, and hey, your flesh may gravitate towards it, but you got to rebuke them thoughts, man. You got to rebuke that old man and the things that were enticing to him, and deny yourself certain things in this life. And sometimes, again, that might be easier said than done, man. Some brothers have had problems with drinking, which the scriptures make it very clear it's okay to drink, but sometimes, hey, that could be, that could be you might overindulge. So some brothers, hey, do they just stay away from drinking altogether because of that, man? You see, so you gotta just be honest with yourself, man, and address your demons according to you, and pray to the Most High, man, to reveal them to you, right? It may even be wise for you to write them down on a piece of paper, man. You see, because hey, none of us are perfect. This is the walk of faith that we all have. Every single one of these brothers with you, man. None of us are perfect. You may look at a brother and, hey, like the scriptures say, right, pursuant to the book of Sirach, that we judge ourselves harder than any watchman, man. 7 watchmen in particular. You see? So you might think that you're the worst person in the camp, and really, man, all of us are fighting. You see? So don't kill yourself, because I've seen brothers do it, man. Destroy themselves due to their own conscience, condemning themselves, man. Which also is written in the book of Sirach. You see? The bottom line is, hey, we got to address these demons and put them at bay and cast that old man away, as it's written, right? And we chip at this old man day by day, man. Chip it down till it's nothing, till the point that we come forth as fine gold at the coming of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Verse 15, it says, then when the lust hath conceived, so now your lust was enticed, then you conceived which is what? The act of you, it brought forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So that's what brings forth death, man. The book of 1 Corinthians expounds upon it a little further, which we'll go ahead and grab here in a second. But for now, let's go ahead and jump back to the book of Matthew, chapter 15. And you see here what's being used for the analogy of what we just read basically out of James is the fact of you eating food, man. And he's going to break it down. Let's go ahead and jump down to the point. Verse 15, it says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Declare unto us this parable. So it's a parable, clearly, this whole thing of eating food, because you'll see Christians will actually use this analogy and say that they could eat whatever they want. But as we just read, it's a parable that the Lord's using, that. Because you can't eat whatever you want. The eating of what you want is a parable used for, basically the thoughts in your own head, as he's going to explain. And Yahushua said, As ye are without understanding, or are ye also yet without understanding? Because it's a pretty clear parable, man. But the bottom line is the Spirit wasn't working with them on that level yet, because Yahushua was still with them in the flesh, man. He had to overcome the law. He had to have his blood spilt to atone for our sins so that we could be forgiven and be able to open this book and loose the seals, as it's written in the book of Revelation. I believe that's the 3rd or 5th chapter. Verse 17, it says, Do not ye understand that whatsoever entereth into the mouth goeth into the belly? So he's explaining this parable. Whatever goes into your mouth, in this case, in this analogy, it was food, right? It goes into your belly, man. You eat it and it goes into your belly, right? It says, and is cast out into draught. So then you go to the bathroom and it's waste. Verse 18, it says, But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile a man. So it's not what goes into your stomach, so to speak. It's not what goes into your mind. It's not the thoughts that come into your head, which the scriptures do say an unclean thought is a sin, right? But nonetheless, when you act upon that, man, that's where you bring yourself fully into that transgression, and you're at danger then of death. Which, we know that there's been a sacrifice being Yahushua, so Lord willing, that atones for us, and that we're covered, and that, Yahushua's blood atones for ours. But really, man, at the end of the day, we are in danger of death, man. None of us have received the prize yet. None of us have been actually forgiven. You see, the Lord could require us at any second, man, and there's not a thing that we could do about it. You see, but all we could do is try. All right, and we know that if we're trying, man, hey, as it's written in the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, not even death can separate us from the Lord. So we don't need to fear death, man. But we do need to fear the Lord, because you don't want to be getting iced out for your wicked doings, man. That's horrible, man. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're on the Lord's hit list, and we do feel like that constantly, man. So hey, do yourself some favor, save yourself some stress, and what, man? Just stay on point. Look in the mirror, address your old man, right? Chisel away at him. Refine yourself. Psalms of 51st chapter, right? Renew in me a new spirit, a contrite spirit. Wash me with hyssop, make me whiter than snow, make me clean. Hey, we got to be on this mind frame, man. Going on, verse 19, it says, For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries. So these aren't foods, right? These are sin, and these are what will cause you to sin. These are sin. These are examples of sin. As it's written in 1 John 3 and 4, transgression, all right, or sin is the transgression of the law. So when you break the laws of the Most High, which, naming a few of them would be murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, and blasphemies. You see, these, verse 20, are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashen hands defileth not a man, because the whole thing is they're trying to get on the Lord for not washing his hands when he eats. So he came back and hit him with this parable, man. Telling him it's not what you take in. If you want to take in the doctrine of washing your hands, good for you. But there ain't no law telling you not to wash your hands, man. It's not what you take in. You want to take in these different good habits or whatever the case may be. That's cool, man. But nonetheless, it's these things that cause you to break the law. That's what will defile you. That's what enters in your head and makes you break and makes you sin and then be in danger of death, man. You see? So let's go ahead and jump to that 1 Corinthians chapter 15, which I was making mention of earlier. And verse, I believe, verse 56, if I'm not mistaken. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. You see that, man? So the sting of death is sin. So it may have came forth in the form of a bee sting, or in the sting of a damn spear. The sting of a stingray might have got the Steve Irwin special, but nonetheless, man, it wasn't that per se that killed you. It was the sin that killed you, man. It may have came in the form of a stingray in the bee sting or in the spear, but nonetheless, in reality, man, it actually was the sin that caused you to die. Pursuant to James, the first chapter, as we were reading, man. You see, so, hey, it begins with your thought, and then it leads all the way to your ass getting stung, man. So rebuke them thoughts, man. It says, and the strength of sin is the law. And so in order to strengthen yourself against sin and to understand how to rebuke them thoughts, because you're not going to rebuke your thought if you don't think it's a bad thought, that's going to be by the law. And that's why we were given the law, and we'll end it here. Romans chapter 7 and verse 4 or 7, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, verse 7, it says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Hey, the law is not sin. Because you'll have the Christian church tell you that the law is done away with and that you're basically wicked for keeping it. When really that's just to justify their own conscience. Because they know that they're going off by committing adultery and doing all this wild stuff and asking for forgiveness as they do it. Right? Hey, you got to rebuke them thoughts, man. Because another way to bring them thoughts in would be these religions, man. Which is why Yahweh Shai brought that whole point up in Matthew the 15th chapter. If you want to take in these different doctrines, whatever, that's on you. But when it causes you to break the laws and pollute your mind into justifying such, then bro, you through. Now you're in danger of death. Now you're in danger of sin. Now you done sinned, and now you've been defiled. Right? So you got to rebuke them thoughts, man. And that Satan's gonna try to give you them thoughts in all different ways, shapes, and forms, man. And part of that is religion. It says, nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. So he's going further to expound on the fact that, or to break down the fact that he would not even know what sin was if it wasn't for the law. So in order for your mind to get right, for you to know how to combat sin, right, as we read in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, in the 56th verse, or the 57th verse, then you got to be able to understand the law. The do's and don'ts of the Most High is what I like to call them, right? Because the Christian church would tell you sin's done away with. Now the do's and don'ts are according to your pastor, not according to the Lord, but according to the man whoever told you that sin was done away with. Now he's left it open for his own interpretation and breakdowns. The Bible gives us all the answers, man. Just use it to put deflectors on your brain. It says, nay, I had not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So now he even goes as far to give us an example that he wouldn't know what lust was if the law didn't say, thou shalt not covet. He would have been looking upon his brother's woman, upon his brother's substance, sizing up his shoes, all that, man. But he knew that was wrong, and therefore putting him in danger of death by what? Knowing and understanding that the law says, thou shalt not covet, right? Verse 8, but sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me the manner of concupiscency, for without the law sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once, so he was being ignorant, didn't know the do's and don'ts, right? But when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. So it really comes with like a two-edged sword, man. You see, but that's where Yahweh Shai comes in, and we know understand that through the blood of Yahweh Shai. Hey, as I mentioned earlier, not even death could separate you from the Lord, man. So we've been forgiven through the blood of Yahweh Shai. It's not so much the law. Don't get it twisted. If you happen to find yourself covet for something, which really that's a sin that really is all in your head, in your thought process, then hey, man, the Most High may not kill you. And we know and understand and believe that through the blood of Yahweh Shai that he spilled, that he overcame that law, that he did perfect. And his blood was not spilled, but it was spilled for his blood was not spilled for his own sins, but to atone for yours. So there's the balance, man. We know we're not perfect. That's what keeps us on check, and that's what keeps us in fear of the Lord. But yet we know that we have Yahweh Shai, so he gives us faith, man. You see? So Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close it up there. Call Allah Yahweh Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Grand Millstone, and a sincere peace, love, blessings, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there doing the best to make the calling of your election sure. Again, this is the Brother Gar. Lord willing, this is edifying. Until next time, Shalom.